You look at the corner of the garage ceiling, or behind the toilet tank, or in that dark corner with the toolboxes. Its presence triggers an instinctive response in your brain, a response programmed for thousands of years. The fear of venom. But instead of acting logically, you act as modern corporations trained you. You go to the cleaning closet. You grab that black can with red and yellow letters, the one that says extended action or kills on contact. You return to the garage, pull the trigger, and empty a quarter of the can. It soaks the drywall. The smell of chemical solvent fills the room. You start coughing and step back. You watch the spider curl its legs and drop to the floor. You clean the mess, throw the can back into the closet, and you go to sleep with the absolute certainty that you protected your home. It is a comforting illusion. But it is false. What you just did not solve the root problem. You simply contaminated your own living space, and you ensured that the next spiders to enter will be much harder to spot. I am Levi Miller. I grew up in a community where wood, barns, and direct contact with nature are daily reality, not a weekend hobby. In that environment, you quickly learn you cannot fight nature with brute force, nor with pressurized aerosol cans. You have to use intelligence. You must understand how the enemy works on a biological and mechanical level. Today I will explain why the pest control industry is mostly a scam, a scheme designed to empty your pockets. And I will teach you the exact mechanical and biological method to seal your home against venomous arachnids for less than the cost of a coffee. And no, this is not an aromatherapy fairy tale. It is pure botanical chemistry and structural physics. Let us start by dissecting the fraud of commercial insecticides, the ones you buy at the supermarket or hardware store. If you read the back label, in the fine print of the active ingredients, you will see names ending in ethrin, permethrin, cypermethrin, deltamethrin. These compounds belong to a chemical family called pyrethroids. They are synthetic neurotoxins, designed to attack the central nervous system of insects, keeping the sodium channels in their neurons open until causing paralysis and death. It works wonders if you want to kill a cockroach or an ant, and it works because of how these insects move and behave. Cockroaches drag their abdomens across the floor. When they cross a surface sprayed with pyrethroids, their body absorbs the chemical. Furthermore, cockroaches and ants groom themselves constantly. They pass their legs through their mouths to clean themselves. By doing so, they ingest the toxin directly. They poison themselves. Spiders are not insects. They are arachnids. And their mechanics of movement are completely different. Spiders walk on the tips of their legs, on structures called tarsi. Their body is elevated. They do not drag their abdomen across the floor. When you spray the perimeter of a room with a residual insecticide, the spider walks over it, and the contact surface between the toxin and its body is microscopic. Unless you drown it directly with the spray, like you did in the garage, the residual poison on the floor is rarely enough to kill it, but it is enough to irritate it. And this is where modern pest control fails catastrophically. Spiders are ambush predators. Their primary survival instinct when detecting a hostile chemical environment, it is not to stay and fight, nor to walk toward the center of the room. Their instinct is to retreat into the darkest, narrowest, and deepest shelter they can find. When you fumigate your baseboards with chemicals, arachnid population deep into your structure. They flee into the interior wall voids. They crawl into air conditioning returns. They crawl behind the fiberglass insulation in the attic and settle in the dark cavities of your closets. With a single aerosol can, you took a visible problem, one you could monitor, and turned it into an invisible threat. You cornered a venomous animal. And most brown recluse or black widow bites happen exactly because of this. They do not bite you because they are hunting you. They bite you because you cornered the spider inside your shoe, or between your bed sheets by using inefficient repellents. And when you went to get dressed, you crushed it against your skin. The bite is pure defensive panic. Pest control corporations understand this limitation. They know their monthly perimeter sprays do not eliminate hidden spider populations, but it benefits them. The perfect business cycle requires you to keep seeing a bug or two occasionally. So that fear forces you to renew your $900 a year contract. It is the monetization of your biological ignorance. To get spiders out of your house and ensure they do not come back, you have to stop trying to poison them and start attacking their navigation system. You must understand how a spider perceives the world. You see and hear your surroundings. A spider experiences reality through a complex network of chemical and vibratory sensors. They do not have a nose. They do not smell the air by breathing it through nostrils. Instead, they have chemoreceptor organs, located at the tips of their legs and on their pedipalps, which are those small appendages near their mouth. These structures are covered with tiny, sensitive hairs, sensitive to chemical compounds in the air and on surfaces. They literally taste and smell everything they step on. Every step is a laboratory analysis of the terrain. That is how they detect the pheromones of a mate. Trail of prey, or the presence of a predator. If you alter the chemistry of the surfaces they must walk on, you can overload their nervous system without killing them. There is a natural compound perfected by millions of years of botanical evolution that does exactly this. It was not designed in a laboratory in New Jersey. It was designed by nature as a weapon of exclusion. That compound is pure peppermint essential oil. And I want to be extremely precise here, because imprecision is why rookies fail and say, this does not work. The peppermint plant does not produce its scent to please humans. It produces a high concentration of monoterpenes, specifically menthol and pelargone, as a toxic defense mechanism against herbivorous insects and pests. When you extract the pure essential oil, you are isolating this botanical defense in its most violent and concentrated form. For a human, the scent of peppermint is refreshing, clears the sinuses, and smells like winter. For a spider, coming into contact with pure menthol is a devastating sensory assault. The compound saturates the chemoreceptors on its legs. It transmits a signal of massive pain and toxicity to its central nervous system. The biological response is non-negotiable. The spider does not attempt to cross. It turns around and seeks an environment with clean air. Buying a bottle of high-purity peppermint essential oil costs you a few dollars. Since you will use drops per application, the cost of treating your whole house is marginal, barely $1 per use. But execution is everything. If you fail the chemistry of the preparation or the physics of the application, you will waste your money perfuming your kitchen floor with no real impact on pests. Here is the exact protocol. First, the equipment. You need a glass spray bottle. Pure essential oils are highly concentrated organic solvents. If you use a cheap plastic spray bottle from the dollar store, the oil terpenes will begin to degrade the plastic from the inside. Over time, the bottle will lose its shape, and plastic chemicals will leach into your mix. Use glass. Amber bottles are ideal because they protect the compound from UV degradation. You fill that bottle with clean water, let us say about 16 ounces of water. To that water, you will add the peppermint oil. Concentration is key. You do not need half a bottle. About 20 drops are enough to create the sensory load we want. But here is where mistake number 1 happens. If you close the bottle right now and shake it, you will be ignoring the laws of thermodynamics and density. Water and oil are immiscible. Water is a polar molecule with a positive charge on one end and a negative on the other. Oil molecules are nonpolar. They do not attract each other, they repel. If you simply mix both, the moment you stop shaking the bottle, the oil will rise and form a floating layer on top. When you pull the trigger to spray your home's baseboards, the bottom of the bottle will only absorb pure water. You will be spraying sterile water all over your house, wondering why the spiders keep coming in. And when you reach the bottom of the bottle, you will expel all the pure oil at once in a single spot. To fix this, you need a chemical bridge, an emulsifier, a compound with a polar head that binds to water and a nonpolar tail that binds to oil. You have that compound in your kitchen right now. It is liquid dish soap. The surfactants in the soap do exactly this job. Add exactly 1 or 2 drops of liquid dish soap to your bottle. You do not want to create a bucket of foam to wash the car. You just need that tiny amount of surfactant to break the surface tension. Close the bottle, shake it, and you will see the water turn slightly cloudy. The oil molecules are now microscopically suspended and evenly distributed throughout the liquid. Your solution is ready. It is lethal on a sensory level. Now, the deployment tactic. You are not going to spray this in the middle of the living room. You are not going to spray carpets or ceilings. You have to think like a security auditor evaluating breaches in a fortress. Spiders do not magically materialize inside your house. They come from outside or migrate from uninhabited spaces like the attic and dirt basement. They come looking for smaller insects, seeking moisture, or seeking a warm shelter when the outside temperature drops in autumn. You have to identify and treat the choke points. Let us do a walkthrough of your home's structure. Start with the exterior if the weather permits. Look at the exterior doors. The weakest point of any house is the bottom threshold of the doors. If you can see light under the front door at night, that is an arachnid highway. Spray a solid line of the peppermint solution along that entire exterior threshold and at the base of the frame. The same with back doors and the garage door. Move on to the windows. Insects are attracted to your home's interior lights at night. Spiders know this. They know that illuminated window frames are excellent hunting grounds. Spray the exterior and interior frames, paying special attention to the bottom tracks where the window slides, since that is where dust accumulates, and where there are often small gaps in the weather stripping. Now, the infiltration points that most people ignore. Observe where external infrastructure enters your home. The place where the air conditioning pipe penetrates the outer wall, the dryer vent exhaust, the spots where plumbing pipes and electrical cables cross the siding of the house. Builders usually seal these holes with expanding foam, but over the years, that foam cracks and shrinks, leaving small, dark holes protected from the wind. Spiders use these thermal tunnels to enter each of those penetrations with the spray. If you have a brick veneer house, look at the bottom row, near the ground. You will see small gaps without mortar between some bricks. They are weep holes, designed to let moisture escape the wall cavity and prevent the wood from rotting. You cannot plug those holes with silicone. You would destroy your house. But they are perfect gateways for brown recluses seeking the darkness of inner walls. Spray the peppermint solution directly into and around those weep holes. You do not block moisture, but you create an impassable chemical barrier. Once you have secured the exterior perimeter, move indoors. Basements and garages are the base camps. Treat the entire line where the concrete wall meets the floor slab. In the kitchen and bathrooms, open the cabinets under the sinks. You will see the hot and cold water pipes coming out of the wall. That dark and slightly damp space is prime territory for indoor arachnids. Spray generously around the pipe escutcheons and into the deepest corners of the cabinet. What you are achieving with this is not extermination, it is exclusion. You are drawing invisible borders. Widow approaches your door or tries to come out from behind the washer. Her front sensors hit the menthol wall. The message of pain forces her to retreat. Since you applied this on perimeters and access routes, the net effect is to push populations outward, not trap them inside with you. You are forcing them to seek a less aggressive environment in the yard or at the neighbor's house. But biological work requires discipline. Unlike heavy synthetic chemicals that leave residues for months, essential oils are volatile. Their nature is to evaporate slowly, releasing the scent into the air. This is what makes them safe for you and your lungs. But it means the barrier loses potency over time. Ultraviolet light, dust, and drafts degrade the menthol. You cannot do this once a year and forget about it. You must establish a seasonal protocol. Pest behavior is predictable and dictated by thermal cycles. The first huge invasion peak happens in early autumn. Cold, the outdoor insect biomass starts to die, or seek shelter for hibernation. Spiders, following their food and looking to escape the frost, try to force their way into your home. During September and October, you must apply this barrier once a week, a full 10-minute walkthrough every Sunday. The second peak occurs in mid-spring when eggs hatch. The hatchlings scatter and look for new territories to establish webs. During that time, you resume the weekly protocol. In peak summer or peak winter, a monthly maintenance application is usually enough, because the populations are static. If you keep up this discipline, you will notice a massive chain reaction in your home's ecosystem. And here is where the intelligence of old farmers beats modern exterminators. In nature, everything is connected through the food chain. If you have spiders in your house, you have a bigger, unseen problem. Spiders are predators. They do not settle in an empty space. If a spider spins a web in your living room corner and stays there for weeks, it is because it is eating. If it is eating, you have a steady stream of other insects entering your home. Flies, mosquitoes, silverfish, ants, pantry moths. Spiders are the symptom, not the disease. Peppermint oil is a broad-spectrum disruptor. Ants, for instance, are almost blind. They navigate and organize their vast supply lines into your pantry. By leaving a chemical trail of pheromones on the floor, Every passing ant reinforces the trail. When you spray the door threshold with the peppermint emulsion, the terpenes completely overwhelm and destroy the pheromone trail. The supply line collapses instantly. Scout ants become disoriented, unable to find their way back, and the colony assumes the food source disappeared. Rodents have an incredibly sharp olfactory system, designed to find seeds buried under the snow. For a mouse, the concentrated smell of menthol is physically painful, pure ammonia for us. They avoid treated areas with the same urgency as spiders do. With a single natural compound, a bottle of water, and 10 minutes a week, you are simultaneously neutralizing arachnids, cutting off ant supply lines and repelling scout rodents. You are dismantling the entire indoor food chain, without spreading a single carcinogen on the floor where your kids play, or where your dog sleeps. This is what corporations do not want you to discover. They want you to view each problem as an isolated event, requiring a different, patented chemical solution. Wasp spray, ant gel, roach powder, a glue trap for mice. They want your garage to look like a toxic waste dump. Independence is the enemy of their business model. To be truly effective, you must combine the chemical exclusion of peppermint with the alteration of your physical exterior environment. As I mentioned, spiders go where the food goes. Food, in the insect world, is attracted to light. White incandescent bulbs in your porch lights, or above the garage door, you are operating a massive bug beacon nightly. Beetles, moths, and mosquitoes congregate in swarms around that light. Spiders simply settle in the adjacent shadows and enjoy an all-you-can-eat buffet. Go to the hardware store and swap every white exterior bulb for warm yellow or amber LED lights. The eyes of most nocturnal insects are blind to the yellow and red wavelengths. They cannot see the light bulb. Overnight, the bug congregation at your doors disappears. If there are no insects, spiders have no incentive to build webs at your entrances. If they are not at your entrances, the chance they slip under the door drops sharply. And the few that try will run straight into the menthol barrier. The same goes for landscaping. Many plant dense shrubs right against the exterior walls and cover the ground with shredded wood mulch. Mulch retains irrigation moisture and blocks sunlight. It is the biologically perfect breeding ground for soft-shelled insects, centipedes, and pillbugs. And where there is moisture and food, you find brown recluses and black widows. The old farm trick, long before modern foundations were invented, was to maintain an inert strip around the main structure. You have to create a dead zone. Pull the organic wood mulch at least 1.5 feet away from your foundation. Fill that space with gravel or crushed stone. The stone heats up quickly in the sun, drains water instantly, and provides absolutely zero nutrients. Insects hate crossing hot, dry stone dust. By creating a gravel perimeter around your house, you force moisture and pests to stay far away from the siding. The peppermint does the rest at the doors and windows. It all comes down to stopping impulsive reactions to symptoms and starting to manage the environment with strategy and knowledge. Nature is not a chaotic monster. It is a system of strict rules. Spiders and insects obey gradients of temperature, humidity, smell, and prey. If you learn to manipulate those variables in your favor, using compounds their own bodies reject, you win the game permanently. You win it without enriching companies selling defective solutions from the back of white vans. You have the information. You have the exact recipe. You know why the bottle needs a drop of soap. You know where to apply it and when to do it. The choice to keep poisoning your home or start defending it intelligently is entirely yours. If you decide to act with logic, prepare the mixture today. Treat the entrances, baseboards, weep holes, and vents. Mentally document what you see. In a couple of weeks, when you clean the garage and notice there are no new webs in the corners, return to this video. Go down to the comments section and detail exactly how it worked for you. Write down which pest disappeared first. Raw, real, empirical testimonies from people who broke free from the system.